Carnival of Souls wasn't just another psychological horror classic. It was a film that wasn't supposed to exist, made by a guy who shot safety videos for a living, filmed in an abandoned pavilion so creepy that locals refused to go near it. And here's the thing, there's footage from this movie that vanished for decades, scenes the director shot that distributors chopped out, a longer cut that got buried and nearly lost forever. The studio didn't care. They dumped it into drive-ins and forgot about it. But the movie wouldn't stay dead. These are 12 creepiest facts about Carnival of Souls, and hidden in them is the shocking truth that this film almost disappeared completely, and what survived might not even be the real version. Number 1. The man who made this film had never directed a movie in his life. Herc Harvey worked for Centron Corporation in Lawrence, Kansas. His job: industrial films, safety training, educational shorts for classrooms, stuff about driving carefully and brushing your teeth. That was his world. Then one day in 1961, he drove past the Auteur Pavilion outside Salt Lake City. It was a rotting amusement park on the edge of a dead lake, peeling paint, broken windows, silence so thick you could feel it. Harvey pulled over and stared, and right there, he saw a horror movie. He pitched the idea to his friend John Clifford, who wrote the script in 3 weeks. The entire production budget, $33,000. That's it. No studio backing, no safety net, just a guy with a vision and almost no money. And that leads directly to number 2. Number 2, they shot the whole film in 3 weeks. 3 weeks. Most horror movies take months. Harvey didn't have months. He had vacation time from his real job, so the cast and crew worked brutal hours, 16-hour days, no trailers, no craft services. Reports say Candice Hilligoss, the lead actress, was exhausted by day 5. She'd never done a film like this. Most of the crew hadn't either. They filmed in churches, abandoned buildings, a real highway where cars flew past at 60 miles an hour. The stress was constant. The schedule was punishing. And here's the scary part. Most of the crew weren't even professional film people. They were industrial filmmakers used to shooting 10-minute shorts about factory safety. Now they were making a feature, in the dark, with no time, because number 3 is where it gets dangerous. Number 3, the car crash that opens the movie almost killed someone. The script called for a car to plunge off a bridge into a river. They did it for real. No CGI, no miniatures, a real car, a real river, a real stunt. According to production accounts, the timing had to be perfect or the driver could drown. The bridge was in Kansas. The water was cold and murky. Crew members stood on the bank holding their breath. When the car hit the water, there was nothing but silence and bubbles. For a moment, nobody knew if the stunt went wrong. Then the driver surfaced. But the tension on that set, you could taste it. And that raw danger shows up on screen. You can feel something's off because something was. Which brings us to number 4. Number 4. The Auteur Pavilion was a real haunted location. Well, haunted by history. Built in 1893, it burned down twice. It sat abandoned for years before Harvey found it. The lake beside it, the Great Salt Lake, had receded, leaving behind a wasteland of white salt and rotting wood. The pavilion was crumbling, unsafe. Reports say the floor creaked so loud you could hear it in the footage. The air inside was stale and thick. Dust everywhere. The crew had to be careful where they stepped. Some boards were rotten through. And here's the creepy part. Locals wouldn't go near it. They said it felt wrong. Harvey used that. He filmed the ghoul dance sequence right there in that decaying ballroom. Real dust, real decay, real dread. And that's not even the strangest part. Number 5 is where this movie starts to feel cursed. Number 5, the makeup effects were done with almost nothing. The ghouls, those pale, dead-eyed figures that chase Mary through the film, were created on a shoestring. White pancake makeup, dark eyeshadow. That's basically it. No latex masks, no prosthetics. The budget didn't allow for anything fancy. So Harvey improvised. He shot the ghouls in weird angles, used lighting to hide imperfections, filmed them in fog and shadows. The result? More terrifying than a $1 million monster, because your brain fills in what it can't see. The cheapness became the horror, but that cheapness came with a cost, one that nearly destroyed the film entirely. And that's what number 6 is about. Number 6. Carnival of Souls fell into public domain almost immediately. Here's what happened. The film's copyright wasn't properly registered. Some accounts say it was a clerical error. Others say the distributors just didn't care. Either way, the movie became legally free for anyone to copy, distribute, or sell. For decades, it showed up in dollar bins, on late-night TV, on bootleg tapes with terrible quality. The original creators made almost nothing from it. Harvey and Clifford watched their film get chopped up, re-edited, and sold sold by people who had nothing to do with it. Versions with missing scenes. Versions with added footage from other movies. It was chaos. The real film nearly vanished in a sea of bad copy, and that leads to the biggest mystery here. Number 7. Number 7. There were multiple cuts of this film, and some footage stayed buried for over 20 years. The original theatrical release ran about 78 minutes, but Harvey had shot more. Scenes that got trimmed for pacing. Scenes that distributors thought were too slow or too strange. That footage didn't disappear, but it wasn't seen by most audiences. For decades, the only versions circulating were the shorter, choppier cuts. It wasn't until the 1980s that a restoration effort recovered the lost material. The director's cut added back scenes Harvey always wanted. But here's the question. How many other scenes are still locked away somewhere? Some reports suggest even more footage existed. Footage that may never surface, because number 8 reveals just how little control Harvey had. Number 8. The distributors buried this movie on purpose. Carnival of Souls didn't get a real theatrical release. It got dumped. Drive-ins, double features, late-night slots nobody watched. The distributors didn't believe in it. They thought it was too slow, too weird, not enough blood, so they buried it. No marketing push, no big premiere, just a quiet release into the graveyard of forgotten film. Critics ignored it. Audiences didn't show up. The film made almost no money. Harvey went back to his industrial film job. For years, it looked like Carnival of Souls would just fade away. But something strange happened, and that's what number 9 is all about. Number 9. The movie refused to die. Through the 60s and 70s, Carnival of Souls kept showing up. Late-night TV broadcasts, college film screenings, bootleg copies passed between horror fans. Word spread. People started calling it a lost masterpiece, a buried gem. Directors like George Romero cited it as an influence on Night of the Living Dead. David Lynch reportedly admired its dreamlike style. The film that nobody wanted became the film everybody talked about. Why? Because it felt different. It didn't follow the rules. It had an atmosphere you couldn't shake. And here's the scary part. That atmosphere wasn't just filmmaking. It was real. Because number 10 reveals what happened on set. Number 10. Candice Hilligoss never became a star, and some say this film was why. She gave everything to this role. Playing Mary Henry, a woman drifting between life and death, required total commitment. Reports say Hilligoss found the shoot grueling. The low budget, the long hours, the isolation of the character. She delivers one of the most haunting performances in horror history, and then nothing. Her career never took off. She did a few more small roles and faded from Hollywood. Some accounts suggest she was frustrated by how the industry treated her. Others say she simply moved on. But watching her in Carnival of Souls, you see someone giving everything, and the movie took it. That's the trade. Number 11 shows what it took from everyone else. Number 11. Herc Harvey never directed another feature film. Think about that. He made one of the most influential horror movies ever, then went back to making industrial shorts for the rest of his career. Why? Money, opportunity. The industry didn't come calling. Carnival of Souls flopped. Nobody was offering Harvey a second chance, so he kept his day job at Centron until he retired. He died in 1996, finally seeing his film recognized as a classic, but he never got to make another one. One movie. That's all he got, and it almost wasn't even that, because number 12 is the final twist. Number 12. The version you've seen might not be the real film. Here's the problem. Decades of public domain chaos meant dozens of different cuts existed. Some had scenes removed. Some had footage added. Some were transfers so bad you could barely see what was happening. The 1989 restoration tried to fix this, but even that version has questions. How much of Harvey's original vision survived? What footage is still missing? Some film historians believe there are scenes that never made it into any known cut, locked away, forgotten, lost forever. Real Carnival of Souls might be a film nobody has seen, and maybe that's fitting. A ghost story about a woman who doesn't know she's dead, existing as a ghost of itself, incomplete, haunting, still waiting to be found. Carnival of Souls became a legend because it almost didn't survive. A $33,000 budget, a 3-week shoot, a director who never got another chance, distributors who buried it, copyright chaos that scattered it into 100 broken versions, and yet it endured. It crept into the culture. It influenced generations of horror filmmakers. It proved that atmosphere matters more than money, that dread can be made with dust and shadows. This wasn't just a movie that nearly fell apart. It was a movie that kept putting itself back together, piece by piece, copy by copy, until the world finally saw what Herc Harvey knew the moment he stared at that crumbling pavilion. Some stories refuse to stay dead. Thanks for watching. Hit like, drop a comment with your favorite fact, and subscribe for more creepy movie secrets.